They say love makes you blind, but no one ever tells you just how expensive that blindness can be. I was a man with a stable job, a condo downtown, and a pretty solid retirement plan. Nothing flashy, just secure, steady. Then I met Jessica. She wasn't just beautiful, she was magnetic. Long auburn hair, the kind of smile that makes you forget what you were saying, and this effortless charm that made you feel like the most important person in the room. We met at a friend's birthday party, and by the end of the night, she'd already managed to dig into my favorite childhood memories, my views on marriage, and what kind of wine I liked. I should have known right then no one moves that fast unless they have a plan. But I thought I'd hit the jackpot. She moved in after 3 months. Said rent was a waste, and why pay 2 leases when we're already living like a married couple? It made sense, at the time. Slowly, things began to shift. At first, it was little stuff she offered to help out by reorganizing my financial documents. She worked in finance, she said, knew how to optimize things. I felt lucky. She even made spreadsheets. Who was I to argue with color-coded tabs? Next came the subtle nudges. Put me on your health plan. We're basically family now. Let's get a joint checking account. It'll simplify bills. Why don't I handle our credit cards? I'm better at tracking payments anyway. Again, all logical, all framed as we. But bit by bit, I stopped recognizing my own financial landscape. She canceled one of my credit cards to reduce temptation, she claimed. Switched our utilities into her name, said it made her feel more involved. Then one day, I noticed my online banking login didn't work. It just didn't. I tried resetting the password. The recovery email was changed. So was the phone number. I asked her about it, and she laughed. Oh, I forgot to tell you. I merged it into our new account. You're still on it, obviously. But I wasn't. I called the bank. The guy on the phone said, Sir, you're not listed as the account holder. My stomach sank. The same thing had happened with the mortgage account. The deed had somehow been transferred, and yes, my signature was there, or at least a version of it. That's when the alarms in my brain finally went off. I started going through papers, documents, anything I could get my hands on, but there was nothing. Everything had either been rerouted to her P.O. box or signed away under the illusion of, we're building a life together. And the cherry on top? I came home 2 days later to an empty apartment. Everything gone. Couch, television, paintings, even the shower curtain. She left nothing but a note taped to the refrigerator. You always said I deserved everything. Now I have it. Don't come looking for me. She took my car, my money, my sense of trust. I sat on the bare hardwood floor, just stunned. She'd erased me from my own life, or at least she thought she had. 3 days after she vanished, I was still in a fog. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. My life had been cleaned out like a crime scene, and every trace of her was wiped clean. No social media, no calls, no text replies. Even mutual friends said they hadn't heard from her. It was like she'd never existed. The cops weren't much help either. She lived with you. You gave her access. It's a civil matter. Civil matter? That phrase burned into my brain like acid. As if losing your entire life to someone's manipulation was just paperwork. I was broke, humiliated, and starting from zero. Or so I thought. On the 4th day, I sat on the floor of a local library, trying to log into an old email account I hadn't touched in years, one I only used for online subscriptions and junk. But inside that forgotten inbox was a promotional email from a bank I hadn't used in forever. It read, Your high-yield savings account statement is now available. At first, I thought it was spam, but curiosity made me click. I followed the link, entered my old credentials, ones Jessica never had access to, and somehow, it worked. I was in, and the number staring back at me wasn't small. $14,872.39. I froze. My jaw literally dropped. I had forgotten all about that account. I'd opened it 5 years ago during a bonus promotion and never touched it again. It had just sat there, quietly accumulating interest. And Jessica didn't know about it. That account was in my name only. my ID, my recovery email, no joint access. It was the one island of untouched territory in a world she had stolen from me. And suddenly, I wasn't powerless anymore. I drove straight to the nearest branch. Told them I needed to update my address, my contact info, everything. The banker was helpful, polite, and had no idea they were helping me rebuild the only foothold I had left in the world. Within an hour, I had a new debit card, a printed account statement, and access to a mobile app. I transferred $500 into a fresh checking account and started planning. If she'd missed this, what else had she overlooked? I pulled out my old laptop from storage, the one I hadn't used in years. It was glitchy, slow, but it still had some old photos and backups on it, including a folder labeled Doc Scans. That folder was gold. Inside were PDFs of all my original mortgage paperwork, scanned copies of tax returns, signed agreements, utility bills, all dated and with my original signature. And more importantly, I found a digital receipt from the day I bought my condo, complete with a timestamp, email confirmation, and wire transfer proof, all pointing to me as the sole owner, the original owner. That was the beginning. I took the documents and went to a real estate attorney, laid everything out, and after a pause, he looked at me and said, "She forged the transfer." My blood ran cold. "That's criminal fraud," he continued. "If your signatures were faked and you never legally consented to a deed transfer, this isn't a civil matter anymore." Suddenly, the narrative flipped. I wasn't a stupid ex-boyfriend who got played. I was a victim of a financial crime, a serious one. And the best part? We could trace everything, from forged documents to closed accounts to wire transfers. Every move she made could be audited. And it would be. I wasn't just going to recover my life. I was going to make her pay for trying to steal it. She thought she was untouchable. She thought she had it all. But she forgot the one thing still in my name. And now, that mistake was going to cost her everything. The attorney wasted no time. We filed an emergency motion to freeze the assets connected to my stolen property. Turns out, Jessica had tried to list the condo under a shell LLC, something she must have learned from one of her previous targets, because this wasn't her first time. My lawyer pulled public records on the LLC, and guess what? It was created 3 weeks before she left me, with a fake business address and her as the sole listed manager. She had planned this for months. But her arrogance was her downfall. She used my name on a few utility bills to make the transition seem legitimate, and that gave us enough cause to subpoena bank statements and metadata on the forged documents. Once that happened, everything unraveled. The signatures didn't match. The timestamps didn't align. The notary she claimed witnessed our agreement didn't even exist. And once we proved the deed transfer was forged, I had legal grounds to reclaim full ownership. The judge signed the order. Just like that, I got my condo back. But I wasn't done. With my attorney's help, I filed charges for identity theft, fraud, grand larceny, and document forgery. She thought she was clever, bouncing state to state, changing names, ghosting her online presence. But there's one thing she didn't realize. I wasn't the only man she'd done this to. Once my case hit the system, 2 other reports came forward. Same MO: move in, gain trust, drain everything, disappear. The authorities reopened an old investigation into her background and found over 6 aliases. 6. She wasn't just a liar. She was a professional predator, a con artist, a financial vampire. It took 3 months, but she was eventually caught in Arizona trying to rent a luxury apartment using a fake California license. When they arrested her, she still had my watch, my old MacBook, and photos of us in a shoebox like trophies. I attended every court date. I watched her fake confidence crumble. Her eyes never met mine. And when the judge sentenced her to 8 years in prison, I didn't feel joy. I felt justice. Real, solid, irreversible justice. I walked out of that courtroom a different man, not naive, not broken, just sharper, wiser, stronger. The money in that forgotten account didn't just save me, it exposed her. It gave me the leverage I needed to flip the story. She thought she took everything. But in the end, The one thing she forgot, one overlooked bank account in my name, brought her entire empire of lies crashing down. And me? I got my home back. I rebuilt my credit. I built new locks, new passwords, new boundaries. But most importantly, I kept that account open, as a reminder. Because next time love knocks, I'm answering with both eyes wide open.